Yeah. Well, we say it as you like. So how are y'all? So good to see you. Hello, everyone in the chat room. So what likes happening? So good to see you. Let me go over here, hit that, and we're good. I hope you're good, AK Morningstar. In the Gospel of Thomas, when you sum up the whole story, what was basically saying, in other words, is to worship yourself. It's also in the Gospel of Thomas where the character, Jesus, said there is no sin. But it's also in the Gospel of Thomas where it says, the dudes, had a real thing with the dudettes, man. They didn't want the dudettes into their space. So anyway, welcome everybody. May favor be upon us all, nothing missing, nothing broken, be of service to others. And I tell you, that is perfection. Nothing missing, nothing broken. That's the reality I am creating for the next realm. So, hey, Lost in Space, right back at you. Hey, Nina, good to see you. And Rick, Scotty boy, what's happening, brother? Joyce, good to see you. Tina, hello. Hello, Lauren. How are you, my love? So what's else? Doug, what's up? William, good to see you back in the saddle again. Yep, just as long as it feels good, Yeah. Wow. Yesterday was it was really, I think, one of the more, I don't know, the information, the knowledge that was shared there was just phenomenal. Cheers, everybody. Yeah. Light him if you got him. Queen of Swords, what's happening, darling? Good to see you. Lori, hello, tripping in the Twilight Zone. Hey, Rick, I love that place, man. It's kind of, that's the whole theme for today on the show is the coalescing effect. It's coalesce means to come together, come together. Ba, 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 ba. And I think this group's got it. I mean, every channel does. That's what channel does, right? Channeling. Oh, yeah. Okay. But anyway, yeah, I thought yesterday was a real coming together. Greg, how you doing? Robert V, what's up? Got your email, brother. I'll be responding back on that. RF, what's happening? But what a great panel. I think there were a lot of sacred cows that were tipped over, a lot of paradigms, rearranged, shifted. Yeah, it's interesting. It really is. Because we're going to be talking more on particularly one aspect of it. It's probably one of the least talked about subjects. And that is sex magic. Because, most people are very prudish, in my growing up, I didn't have a problem on a lot of the communes. It was clothing optional, Went out camping with my cousin and her boyfriend, and I had a friend, and there was another one, and we went up on the Yuba River up there outside Yuba City. You had to hike in about a mile, but nudity. It was a nudist camping area. So, in one aspect, I'm very comfortable with the subject. Others are not. Many religions teach restraint. They teach condemnation. They teach belittling, something that was naturally given to us. But, oh, you guys ain't supposed to be doing that. And so we have this perverse perception. We don't realize that the very creation of life here and how that cycle goes is sex magic. Doesn't work all the time. And then it works at times when you don't even think it's supposed to work. I mean, it's powerful, powerful stuff. And as I recall, in my 50 years of indoctrination in my former religion, Every church I knew had adultery going on. Every church. It was either the associate pastor who was banging the head of the singing worship ministry, or you had those that were working, and I could tell you, I'm just going, okay. I mean, I wonder in that moment, was the gal, when she said, "Oh God," was she talking about, which God was she talking about? I mean, again, we laugh at that, but if you really analyze it, baby, it's in the core. I mean, that's that core issue stuff. So yeah, we're going to get into that. I won't get into all of the books, but I will show you. I have a library full on the topic, many different points of view, many different levels of ideology, theology, practicality, et cetera, et cetera. In my youth, I hung out with a group for a while that were with the Unitarian Church. Probably had more orgies through that group than anything I've ever experienced. I mean, yeah. And as I look back, I mean, there was one particular gal. I mean, she was deeply into the occult. We didn't really know that as much, how deeply it was, but I tell you, yeah, maybe it's just, your different perceptions. I want to give to Frater, our resident gentleman over there, and I think he is it Croatia? Anyway, Frater Setnakh, Nathan, got some stuff from him, and I'm hesitant in showing some of this because so he has, if you go to his website, he has some beautiful drawings of Lilith, and I thought I would share this with you. So this is just beautiful. I will have these mounted, and this is Lilith, or an interpretation of Lilith. I thought that was really cool. There is one other. This one is, I think this one really does represent more to the character of Lilith. So she's, what an energy. But anyway, go to his website. The link is down below. I'm going to get these mounted, like I said. And I don't know if you can see this one here, but this is the witch's dance that is in reference to Lilith. I'm getting it straightened out, but yeah, some cool stuff. So anyway, love this type of artwork. There is yet another one. This one's interesting. This is Hector. Yeah. Again, go to the website. I'll tell you, I love it. Anyway, let's see. Hey, Gaia, how are you? Good to see you. So did y'all see this? And this was sent to me. So I think this was on Mr. MB's channel. Let me get this pulled up. We were talking about this on Monday, right? And let me just share this. Have y'all seen this? Yeah. About that stuff, huh? So, and there's other pictures of the, in the different filters, but yeah, that's a normal cloud. Not. Let me get here. There's one other one I want to show because it was like, wow, seriously. What was that? That was what, 3 of them, 4 of them that were sent. Yes. So, and you know who you are, who sent it to me. Thank you. I love the explanation, by the way. By the way, I've gotten some really great emails. I have to get responded to them, but here's another one of that same picture. Sure, that happens all the time. You know, what is it? The Brahmas? Is that what it is? The let me get out of here now. Back over here. The ones in India, their ships. That now, as I have read, they had either 3 or 4 different classes on these VMs. I think that's what it is. Y'all know. But so they had one that carried the royalty, one that was like a people mover, and then there was another one that was like for war, you know, and then there was another one, I think, for like moving heavy. Brahmanes. Yes. Thank you, Scotty boy. There we go. Na. I love this group. But anyway, y'all get it. I don't think they ever left. I don't know. I don't know if there was like the stalemate. There was a treaty. There was a conditional ceasefire, whatever. But they're here. They're going to be changing some stuff. That's all I got to say. New Yoda says it right. First the comments, then the meteors, then we must learn to swim. I'm just wondering where the lions are. I mean, you know, love that song, Thinking About Eternity. Yeah, excuse me if I get that back in the pin there. All right, folks. So on to things that us humans, that we take, I don't know, take for granted may not even be the right word. In so many ways, I see it. And that's the problem, as we were talking about yesterday with the phenomenal panel, Nina, Rurik, and JD, and Sarah. It was just, it brings out that when you are not normal, and there's a lot of us that are not normal. We've never have been normal. We've never really fit in. We can be in groups, but we're still outside. Some of us, there's just, you know, we can be, you know, extroverted, but, you know, we're introverted in so many ways. And I don't know about you, but I really don't talk to people out in the everyday world because they live in a different reality than I do. And it's really odd. Could it be the watchers are watching us in the cloud? I think so, Nina. Yeah, they're definitely there. Vienna sausage. That's what I'm saying, Scotty boy. By the way, isn't that a freaking great movie? Have you ever seen Sausage Party? Oh, you've got to watch it. Seriously. If you got hangups on religion, watch The Sausage Party. Go and check it out because it will liberate you. You see, we are the fruit inside the market. And we think that when we go through the doors, you know, that we're going into nirvana, heaven. Hey, Gogo, good to see you from Croatia. Good to see you. But we don't understand. We're just merely food for the gods. Screw that. And I mean, that's where you get the whole religion. It's all about fear, subjugation. You know, yesterday we were talking about that, and it's just what a panel. You know, I was brainwashed into Isaiah 1:19, I believe, that Yahweh, Jehovah, whoever the cat is, the Jewish God, says he prefers obedience over sacrifice. Well, Guess that's why I'm outside the circle, because I don't fit in. We don't fit in. Yeah. But anyway, Kelly, it is a lot of adult subjects, but it is so true. And as I'm saying that, Kelly, I'm seeing, Frank and what was the bun? What was her name? Anyway, it when I Lynn watched it, because I had watched it, and she couldn't figure out why I was laughing so much, and so I let her watch it from the beginning to the end. You get tears in your eyes. You laugh so hard. I mean, you douche. Okay. Snake Jones says, I've seen the movie Sausage Party starring John Holt. I think it's the other one. Rules are for fools. Boy, ain't that the truth. Yeah, exactly. I'm right there with you. Neutrinos, the ghost particle. Yeah. But anyway, and it shows how, I live in a place that, it's very heavily Christian and conservative, and, and it's amazing because when you listen to some of this stuff and read, it's the same thing. All my life, I have heard, particularly where people think the country's going in the wrong direction. We got to get back to God. We got to get on our knees. We've got to repent. We've got to pray for revival and pray that God will answer our prayers and be merciful upon our country. And Jesus is the answer. Einstein said the definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. My whole point to this is, where the coalescing effect is taken effect, is that there's knowledge now available to the individual. However, it's you. You have information at your fingertips that your ancestors would have given their right arm for. Many gave their lives. There is knowledge now so readily available to any and every person that the reason why things are starting to get even more swirling is because this knowledge that has been held back. Now, if you find out, there's a pastor, and I'll just say he's in the Southeast, watches this channel. He says, I give him some of his best material. That's cool. But here's the fact. The knowledge that we're talking about was restricted, was held back. And a reason for it. Because they felt that the average human was not created with a mind that would be able to handle such knowledge. The average human being is basically nothing more than a serf, chattel. They find themselves very easily distracted and into groups, and then they begin to develop their ideologies. And the ideologies, are either on this side of the fence or that side of the fence, because you can't ride the middle of the fence. They say that you can't do that. You have to make a decision. No, I don't. If you're talking about in the aspect of eternity of eternities, and eternities is, by the way, limited by time. If it's timeless, there are no eternities. But anyway, I digress. So this information, and it's readily available out there. YouTube, I mean, there's just a number of other platforms. And it's, again, here where I live, it's the same thing. And I shake my head, I really do. I sometimes I just go, it's the same thing. Nothing ever changes. And really, when you think about it, it's simply about self-responsibility. accepting your own destiny. I wrote this in the description. We are living in a construct that has been pre-designed way, I don't know how long it goes back. This paradigm has been the dominant within the geode itself. And, you know, the beauty of a geode is only seen when it's opened up, cracked open. Otherwise, it stays hidden. And my whole comparison to this is that we just can't go out and discuss in a restaurant those things that we talk about here. Someone said earlier, this, I think it was Joyce, who was it? Or was it you, Deborah, that said, hey, Elderberry, how you doing? This is a think tank. Yeah, it is. It's a think tank. There's very little entertainment value here. You know, if you have the thirst for gnosis, well, we'll open up the faucets. Anyway, I crack myself up. Hey, Mary Wins, how you doing? Good to see you. Cracking myself up, I'm just telling you. So the future, we're living in a predetermined future. And it's an illusion. The vast majority of humanity has given up their sovereign right to free choice, free will. They have surrendered their free will to a much more paradigm to where basically you don't have to think about anything. You let the paradigm do it. And then, you know, you get a little piece of this and it tells you this is where you're going to go. But when you start looking at it, you know, it's like a cheap brochure. Come here and have a good time. All right, where's here? And what is your definition of a fun time? I mean, for all of us, it's different. So I dreamt this, and you know, when this coalescing effect comes in, it's caused because of this knowledge that's been held back, restricted. The thing about our species is that, you know, we are in a serf class system, a caste system. I mean, you look at the longest royalty lines. I'm not going to mention any countries, but, you know, think about it. The ridiculousness of having kings and queens, princes and princesses. Kind of funny, isn't it? Like, well, what's that about? Because if you buy into it, it just means that you're a servant to something that's you've acknowledged is greater than yourself. Now, I don't have all the answers. I doubt if I ever will. The existence of my reality is predicated upon that which I yet to experience. Yeah. Been given something that I am of the very heart of what we would call the very essence of life itself. This realm is a cheap imitation of what life really is. There are realms where it is highly revered, highly respected, but then they recruit us, not humans. Many of us of our higher order, they recruit us. I mean, you see, the victim, volunteer, or captured. Well, what if we are, in fact, many of us are tough? I mean, we've been through hell and back. That's why hell doesn't scare us. Hell is afraid of us. So is heaven. I mean, we just stir up shit right and left wherever we go. But actually, what we're here to do is to do just that. Maybe many of us have been recruited from the ethereal realm to come in here. Because you have to admit, this is a strange cube. I mean, there's no doubt about it. You get lost in it. So Chris says, just don't call me cheap. I love it. I love it. It's just a fact. But I really think that's what it is. I mean, face it, the knowledge that we bring out here is, well, it's not your everyday on the shelves of Walmart, you know. And on this file, we have all the knowledge of what you have not been told. And by the way, you probably need to know this before you go down the aisle, is that all your beliefs are going to be blown the fuck away. Now, the challenge is, can you make it to the end of the aisle? Yeah. Jeanette, what's up? Good to see you, dear. Our human meat suits hold us. Yeah, they do. So, all right, I want to share some books. Those of you, and I know there are a lot of you, because you've sent me requests. And if you want even more, Farzana, I'm thinking of you as well. FedMart. I love that. Jay Essence says, beings have a mortal experience, sleeping, eating, pooping, having babies, only possible in this realm and in this way, supposedly. Yeah, isn't that interesting? I mean, if that's true, then this place, I can see why it has a waiting line. But it's kind of like we were talking about yesterday. I mean, so much of my theology growing up was limited to this sphere, this singleness of one realm. Yeah, you had the out thing about heaven and hell, but, you know, you already knew where you were going to go, right? Supposedly. But then I think, no, we can't be the only planet. Come on. I mean, if the planet in itself is attached to a realm or dimensions or multiple realms because of the energy of that planet, well, then that would carry out that, you know, virtually every planet, every sun, every star out there would have the same type of realm, right? Because I don't think they all speak English. I don't know if they know what rock and roll is. I mean, do they know what music is? Do they know what it's like to get high with a friend? Sit around a campfire, having s'mores. I don't know. I cannot believe that that is the case. Otherwise, holy crap, do you know what that means? Do you know what that really means? If that is the case, then we are inside something that we can't get out of. We never will. And if this is a washing machine, a recycling machine, I don't think that's the case either. I could be wrong. Maybe it is. Because I keep on asking, well, where were all these reincarnated souls in the, you know, when all this started? I don't know. I mean, if it started from one group of simians amongst a whole lot of other simians that were well evolving already, and then we came along, are we in their world? I mean, they were before us. People, I can hear it. I'm not a monkey, and monkeys can't think. The hell they can't. People don't like to hear that, but I had one person I had to block couldn't accept the fact that, we've actually broken the human genome. No, 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 no. And, then if you don't believe the historical record, that's fine. That's cool. And if you're believing in magic, Puff the magic dragon, that suddenly whatever this thing was came down and snapped its fingers. No, it spoke the word. No, it says it formed out of the ash. No, you're looking in your Bible. It says, no, it didn't. It says it formed it from the earth. No, it formed it from the ash. Remember that character, it cursed the earth. Moving on along. And I know people that say, no, I can't accept that. I can't accept that. Okay. But answer me this. We are in the animal kingdom, right? So does that mean that the spiritual realm is the animal spirit? I don't know. Now, why would it say that to me? It's like, geez. There I am. Hey, you good-looking fella, you. Good to see you. So anyway, I love these discussions, and I think Wednesdays are going to become very interesting. Not sure how far it will go, but we've got a lot of stuff happening. I don't know why I think y'all are seeing me, right? What happened to the age of Aquarius? Thought it was upon us. I don't know who the person was who actually came up with it. So that's my problem. I'm told all of this stuff is truth. This stuff is how it is. But me look at this and I go, somebody else wrote that. Somebody did. I didn't get to meet them. I've met a few authors, had some great bestsellers. I don't know. Take, for instance, hey, Kaz, good to see you, my dear. Hello, Bonnie, what's up? See, people know. So here we go. I got books for you to share. So this is it's not a very long book. It's this one's on sexual vampires, myths and motivations. This is interesting. Talks about what real vampires are. And it's amazing how many people really think there really are vampires. But yeah. So let's see. You'll like this. I won't spend a lot of time on this one. But it's amazing to me how many people really believe that there are physical vampires. Now, I've been taught that there is I don't know what you would call them. You can call them a race that they're in human bodies, but they feed upon not literally, but it's the energy. It's interesting. Some say that it is also the key to extending youth. It can reverse aging. I know nothing about that. But anyway, this is a good read, and it's not a long one. It's worth it. It really is, because I look back and I go, I mean, how many of us have been dinner for, these what I call psychic vampires that feed on the sexual energy? Some say that, there are attachments, that these vampires, in the truest sense of the word, are, well, a little different than us. Don't know. So this is a interesting book. It's called The Kiss of Creation. This is the alchemical point of how another point of view of how all of this coalesced together. It is again sex magic, and it's really, this is a good read. This is another one of those that is worth the opportunity. We were just talking about the Gospel of Thomas, right? When you make the two into one, and when you make the inner like the outer, and the outer like the inner, and the upper like the lower, and when you make male and female into a single one, so that the male will not be male, nor the female be female, when you make eyes in place of an eye, a hand in place of a hand, a foot in the place of a foot, an image in place of an image, then you will enter the kingdom. I feel like Olive Guthrie. He spoke for 25 minutes and not a one of us understood what the hell he was talking about. But that's deep, isn't it? When you make the two one, because we can read that the two shall become one. You know, that's why breaking up is so hard to do. If you're in love with somebody and you find out that that person is not and does not, reciprocate that love, and eventually the relationship ends, the part that is so hurtful for us is that it's the separation of this soul matter. Because when you get into a relationship deep enough, you know what the other person thinks, yeah. I like that. When you make the inner like the outer, and the outer like the inner, and the upper like the lower, and when you make the male and female into one single one, so that the male will not be male, nor the female be female, when you make eyes in place of an eye, a hand in place of a hand, a foot in place of, I'm getting this, you seeing this? Yeah. An image in place of an image, then you will enter the kingdom. So it's the theme of two becoming one forms the heart of the Gospel of St. Thomas, and looks back towards the androgynous unity existing before the fall of man out of paradise. The Mysterium Communications refers to the union of an essence of opposites in the sexually differentiated two natures, resulting in the lapis philosophorum, or the philosopher's stone, also called the elixir, often represented as the hermaphroditic offspring of this union, which could be considered the goal of spiritual alchemy, as the famous alchemy Leah Matafi, nature rejoices in nature, nature conquers nature, nature rules over nature, already shows nature contains not only, great footnotes in there, by the way, the process of transformation, it is transformation itself as it aspires towards union, the royal wedding feast, followed by death and rebirth. Yeah. Told you there's some good books in here, folks. This is one. This is Adamu. This is the Luciferian tantra, and sex magic. This is a deep read. I will admit it, but it's a good one. This is dedicated to Oz, the whore who brought the fire of life to humanity. For those who may see through her eyes to the red passion of the serpent, the goddess Shakti, who instills the sight of Achaman for those willing to see. I like about this succubus printing. Again, this is a deep dive. It is a rabbit hole that will lend itself, let's see what it says here, to Oz, whose touch is the inspiration of the spirit, whose flesh evokes orgasm and the fire of self. To Oz, who hunger is eternal, and whose thirst drains the Spirit of God, whose shadow is of 1,000 beasts to Oz, from between whose legs serpents slither, who taught the fallen angels how to capitulate to Oz, who brought the world, the spirits of the air, the night demons, the hags, to Oz, who is the Shakti, the red and divine spirit of woman, whose thirst is never ending. May we feed you when we capitulate. There you go. It's like we talked about yesterday. Inspire and illuminate the black flame, O mother of harlots, adversary, goddess of the spirit of life. All depends on your point of view. I mean, a lot of people find that these type of readings, it's so foreign. It is so contrary to what we have been taught. What is this boundary? And it is boundaries. And anything that goes outside those boundaries, we become, well, less knowledgeable. I'll say that. Here we go. So this book, again, I'll just show you it. If you decide you'd like it, let me know. I'll send it to you. The Foundations of Sex Magic. Again, that's what humans do. If you read the myths, Roman, Grecian, I mean, Egyptian, the thing that pissed the gods and goddesses off is that when we figured out how to have sex, and apparently we have it in such a manner that has made the gods and the goddesses jealous. They didn't expect that. And so it was beaten into us. You know, that's why we all want to do it. Well, most humans. I mean, it's like it's on autopilot. But yet, what is absent, and imagine if in your youth, if you had this knowledge of what can be done, of creating not your own realm, your own sphere, but imagine, now hear me out on this. So just imagine across the world, adults consenting, let's just say 100,000 couples decide to have coitus, and let's say we could do it almost at the same time all around the world. And at that moment, because it becomes a rolling inertia of force that we have planted in our thought beings at that critical moment, and we think upon that one thing, what do you think will happen? Oh boy. Here's chapter 2, Vampiric Sex Magic with the Wrathful Deities. And you got to ask yourself, well, why are they upset? Well, it all depends. You know, different points of view. Sex magic has been practiced in many forms since the dawn of mankind. The ancient Sumerians had gods which held rites at shrines, the ancient adversaries to the Zoroastrians, known as the Otis. Those who practiced Utek Dhyana, the witchcraft, worshipped Asja, the whore, who was kissed by Ahriman and caused menstruation in women. Ahriman and many of the Pakris, who were essentially sex magicians, succubi, who initiated men into their cult by their charms and wares. Would you agree that it's a possibility that we really don't fully understand even what sex is? Could that be a factor? I mean, we think we are. I mean, you know, most adults will say, Steiger, I know exactly what sex. Do you really? Because I'm seeing that there are some hidden layers here that, well, the very thought for most humans, angels, as they say, will dare not to step into that realm. Yeah, but the angels seem to be like to get it on themselves, don't they? Certainly worked as you read the myths about us. And even if you look at the modern genre of religion today, the whole savior aspect of it couldn't have happened unless there was sex. Oh, they want to say that, well, that wasn't a factor. Yeah, right. Let's see. Here's another one. Oh, this is Advanced Magic for Beginners. Another good book. Now, I don't know how many of you are active in your, let's say, practices, but you should be. Start learning your own magic. It'll carry you with you on the other side. Another good book. I'm just trying to give out some of these into my library. Give me 1 second as I pull that up there. There we go. So let's go into another one. This is Aleister Crowley's book on the best of the equinox, the sex magic. I mean, all these cats, they knew this instinctively, as all of us instinctively know this. I mean, it's the thing about our bodies, we are the sovereigns of our own bodies. Each of us are different and unique. That's what makes the whole topic of sex magic even more wild, because there's such an eclectic aspect to this. Let's cover this. For I am divided for love's sake, for the chance of union. This is the creation of the world, that the pain of division is as nothing, and the joy of dissolution all. This is from the Libra Alveligus. Also take your fill and will of love as ye will, when, where, and with whom ye will, but always unto thee. When you have proved that God is merely a name for the sex instinct, it appears to me not far to the perception that the sex instinct is God. You think about it. Sex was probably the crowning aspect of its creation in this realm. Anyway, have it as you will. Good gracious, where's the time going? Then the classic, they actually made a movie, I think, on this, on carnal knowledge. This is the book of unlawful carnal knowledge. Uh-oh. Yeah. The ruling passions, be it what it will, the ruling passions conquers reason still. Gaze upon my lips, and if those hills be dry, stray lower where the pleasant fountains lie. That's Shakespeare. Passions often make a madman of the cleverest man and renders the greatest fools clever. She weaves the winding streets, she weaves the winding sheets of souls and lays them in the urn of everlasting death. Heavy, heavy, heavy. Anyway, this one is another deep book. Great to have in your library, your digital library. And it covers virtually, I think, about every aspect of what coalescing is really all about. There's so much to the subject. I mean, isn't it odd? You think about it. You have in one stance, and I'll get out of here because so here we are. Thank you for hitting the like button. It's appreciated. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe, right? I think this group has gotten to the point where we're pretty well thing on this. So, the aspect that the energy and the fact that you have these angelics, and if you go by their side of the story, then the demons, well, the demons are all about sex. I mean, Lucifer is all about sex. Satan, well, that's his whole thing. He walks around with a boner all the time. Well, look at Baphomet, But I ask, are you serious? If there is a being named Lucifer, I haven't met him, like to. I don't think he would say, hey, Steiger, do you know where we can go get laid? I don't think that would be, and if it's a her, I don't think that's, I mean, there's areas of math. There's areas of biology. There's areas of astronomy. Now, when we get finished into that learning, yeah, it's kind of, why not? I mean, it seems like if you follow the story, these fallen angels really had it going. I mean, apparently they taught us, and if you read the Apocalypse of Adam from the Pseudo-Apocrypha, Adam didn't want to have sex with Eve at all. Hey, he couldn't understand it according to the book. I've done a story, may be in the archives. And it was Satan, i.e. Lucifer, which again, they're not one and the same, had to come along and said, hey, Adam, the idea of you having what you have and what your partner here, Eve, has, you're supposed to, get into it. Now, Adam says in that passage that he says, why would I have sex with myself? Now, let's take that and let's reverse. So when we read the other story, the real story, not the one that's been clean, edited for television and the general and has a G rating. No, we're talking about the real one, that Eve had sex with a serpent. Well, I could see Adam not getting jealous. What would he be jealous of? Seriously. I mean, I'm just asking for a friend. So anyway, the story goes that it was the other side that had to teach our side about what the whole coitusing thing was about. And today, there's a certain genre of those who are associated in the dark arts, whether, they call them the satanic, whatever they are, doesn't matter. And it's heavily, the motif is, heavy sexual. Okay. But I think that that's really kind of like the layer here. I believe that these beings, if they indeed exist, there's a higher plane. Has to be. I mean, if you're immortal, of the sense that there is a death, but the death is rarely visited, that's interesting. The knowledge you would have. I mean, I want to get into the alchemy. I want to find out specifically in the manipulation of substance, when added with the energy created by the bioessence of an organic form, how that becomes manipulated matter. But that's just me. Okay, so Jargo says, I actually did read Playboy for the articles. Actually, there's some truth to that. They did have some very good journalists. It was, but again, it's like this. I mean, it's like, geez, surely there has to be something more. I mean, I always like visiting the past, but I liked also cutting new frontiers. That's all I got to say. Brian, thank you, my friend. Thank you, Brian. Way to go, dude. That's all I got to say. So here I am back. All right, as he goes on. Anyway, I hope you found this interesting. And if you want the books, it's a subject that we could get into. I just don't want to, I want to have a certain, respectable decorum. I mean, it's so often looked at a debased subject, but yet it's looked at that with such ignorance because it's ignorance. I think mankind, if we truly understood what the essence of what we call sex is about, you see, I think that's where the amnesia comes in, the fugue. They wipe that from us. Because, hey, the way I look at it, again, going back to the story of the fallen angels, if you look at that thing, how about aliens? I've read so many abduction stories where these aliens, these gray things, I mean, they're all about banging the women. And they seem to like sticking probes up males' butts. I mean, I'm going, all right, so you can travel the freaking universe and you come in here to do what? Your whole thing is about having sex with us? I mean, that's kind of like, y'all, the aliens. I mean, if they're aliens, well, why don't they go have sex with animals? I mean, leave us alone. Oh, it's because we are animals. Okay, all right, I get it now. Wow, I wouldn't mind having the issue of Playboy with Marilyn Monroe. Yeah, that's a classic. That is. I mean, those things are worth money now. I mean, Igor was right in Ghostbusters. Print is dead. So Guy says we are animals. Yeah, it's the truth. We really are. We fail to keep that in mind. We haven't apparently ascended. Otherwise, I guess we wouldn't be here, right? I'm just assuming that. I have the golden 50th anniversary edition of Playboy. Wow, Jeanette, you see, that's what I'm talking about. Mary Wynn says, you filthy animal. And happy birthday out there. Way to go. We're happy that you're here. And whose birthday is it? Joyce, I see that. Well, you know who you are. So, all right. Bo Derek. Oh, that one. Yeah. That one. I mean, wasn't she like the real hottie? And yeah. Someone says, Bonnie, you're right. That's why humans can take a pig's heart. Yeah. Okay, everybody. I hear my puppy dogs over here, so I appreciate y'all. I have an appointment tomorrow. I'm going to try to get here, but sometimes things run over. But I'll do my best, and I so appreciate all of you. Thank you. It is. I mean, this is a true joy to be able to come here and to converse with such brilliant minds. Such star seeds. Yeah. Good morning, starshine. Theo says hello. Rod, so you're talking about my peeps. Every time I think of this all the time, I think of Paul. I mean, Paul just broke the whole, matrix and the whole perception, It's like, what a great movie. Another one I'd highly recommend. All right, everybody. Thank you again. Thank you for hitting the like button. Let's see. Nina says on Sunday for her show, and then she has Robert V with her. Oh, that'll be interesting. Jeanette, thank you. Oh man, that just puts that. Well, thank you. It's the energy is very much of the warmth. I appreciate that. All right. Whew. So we continue on. And I think that we covered this subject in a very adult, very mature, but yet very refined manner. I think Miss Manners would approve this approach, Yeah. I think dear Abby would say, well, you kind of went a little bit over the line, but you did fine. Just saying. Hey, Chloe, much love to you, darling. All right, everybody, until we meet again, as the cowboy would say, happy trails.